Hello everybody, welcome to Full Joy Mom. My name is Dawn Marie, and if you are new here, last week on Tip Tuesday, we talked about meal planning and how totally important and what a game changer it can be. Well, this is gonna go hand in hand with that because it doesn't matter how good you meal plan if you can't figure out how to get your kids fed. So today I am gonna give you all my tips that I've learned over the last few years with 4 kids, figuring out how to get them to eat healthy foods at appropriate times. So stay tuned. Here come all my get your kids to eat tips. Well, if you have tuned in today, my wardrobe is crazy. I'm about to take my son on a mommy-daughter date to Build-A-Bear because he had a birthday. And anyway, so I'm filming before we leave, and I'm like in front of the camera going, yeah, this thing looks nuts. It's a super cute dress, but anywho, hopefully it's not too distracting for you during this video. All about how to get your kids to eat. So here we go. Thing number 1, the most important thing I would say in getting your kids to eat a nutritious diet is being intentional with when you do and don't feed them. I had a friend recently, that's actually the reason why I'm doing this video, because my kids are pretty good eaters, or I've been dealing with the not eating situations for so long that I honestly totally forgot. Oh yeah, when you're on your first or second or third kid, you can kind of be like, how am I supposed to get my child to eat? So I'm so glad that she messaged me with questions with her daughter, and now I can bring this information to you because we've all had these questions before. Everyone's kids, you know, at some point are like not wanting to cooperate with the food we're trying to feed them. So paying attention to your schedule and when you are feeding them is like, that is gonna make getting the foods into them so much easier. Because what I have found with my own kids, and then the friend that messaged me, we sort of realized that she was eating foods at the wrong times or drinking milk and juice at the wrong time, and then that was causing her to come to meals when here's all the healthy, nutritious food I have prepared for you, and you have a full belly. So just like adult systems need reset, you know, I don't know if you've ever gone through a phase where maybe you are a breakfast person or you're not a breakfast person. You can retrain your body to switch to either be a breakfast person or not be a breakfast person. Well, the same is true with your kids. When you're gonna go to modify their schedule, it's gonna take a few days for them to get used to that. So what you need to know is they should be eating something about every 2 to 3 hours. And then a big thing that helped me was moving dinner forwards. So in my house, my kids eat all morning long. Like, I have to be intentional about, you're eating breakfast at this time, 2 hours later is when there is a snack, 2 hours later is when there is a lunch, then everybody's napping, and you kind of have to, everyone's nap schedule is different. So basically with your schedule, what you want to avoid is feeding them tons of snacks right before you're gonna give them dinner. But you have to remember, a lot of kids wake up really cranky from a nap, and a big part of that is that their little bodies, if they slept for a long time, they're just hangry. Like, their blood sugar is actually low. They just need to get some quick sugar, which can be fruit. It doesn't have to be not good sugar. It can be good sugar. They need to get something quick into their system so they can get their blood sugar back up. So, you know, any sort of fruit or even a cracker, your body's gonna convert to sugar pretty quickly. But that has been something for me is, okay, when am I gonna put them down for naps so they wake up so I can give them a snack, and then there's still a little bit of a pause in between when they wake up and when they eat dinner. Or maybe like your kids nap late enough that they can wake up and it can be basically time for dinner. I myself found that I needed to, I talked about that last week, I had to move my dinner back by like a few hours. I was a bit of a mess with that, feeding everybody so late. So pay attention to your timing is thing number 1. So what goes right along with paying attention to your timing of when you're eating them is you need to consider your drinks also. You know, you'll have to do your own research on this and come to your own conclusion, but we don't do a lot of milk in my house because milk will just fill your kids up and give them a false sense of being full. They haven't gotten all the calories they need, or they've gotten empty calories, they've not gotten the nutrition that they need, but now they're full and they don't want to eat any of their actual food. So we really basically stick to water in this house. Same with orange juice, it just fills you up. It's so high in sugar. I just prefer for my kids to eat actual oranges if I want them to have some vitamin C. So we're really a water house, and I think that helps my kids eat tons of food because they're not full on drinks. But if you are a milk-loving family, just pay attention to when you give it to their kids. You know, if your child really likes milk, make that the reward for eating part of their dinner or all of their dinner or their lunch or however it is, or maybe make that the thing you give to them quick when they wake up for a nap, and it's gonna get their belly full for a little bit, and then they'll have space for dinner when it comes. So now that you have your kids at the table ready to eat at the appropriate times, how do you get them to want to eat it? My best tips are a sticker chart would be number one. When they clean off their plate, they get to be part of the Clean Plate Club. And as they go along the row, when they get to the end, they get an ice cream cone after the 5th dinner that they've eaten. Or maybe you want to choose to do that every night so you can really get them to eat dinner, or, you know, make it whatever kind of snack you want. You can a lot of times make something feel like a treat. Like at our house, we do Cool Whip with strawberries. There's not a lot of sugar in Cool Whip, so sometimes we'll be like, let's do some Cool Whip and strawberries after dinner, and that will be their treat for eating dinner. And then we are huge on toppings. Like when I had my son Jackson, I feel like I thought it was all or nothing. Like I was so all in on the organic, my kid's gonna eat healthy foods, that I never made any variations. And so he was actually a really good eater, and it did work for him. But then when my daughter Fiona came along and she was a little bit more picky with things, what I found is that, you wanna know what? If you're gonna eat broccoli because you have Parmesan cheese, or we call it shaker cheese in our house, like if you're eating big pieces of broccoli because it's shaker cheese on top, that's fine, have some shaker cheese. Or if you're gonna eat salmon because there's ketchup on top of it, that's fine. Let's get some organic ketchup. You know, don't be so wanting them to eat perfect, healthy foods that you're not willing to make modifications, and like, you know, it shouldn't be an all or nothing thing, because if you don't get them to eat dinner, they're gonna walk away and they're just gonna end up filling up on cheddar bunnies or pretzels or whatever other kinds of snacks anyways. So I am big on toppings. Salt on top of avocado is amazing. Letting them feel like they're big to put it on top of them, on top by themselves, can sometimes backfire, but it makes them feel big and convinces them to eat it. And then the other thing is I love giving them choices. So I will usually I do it with vegetables. I'll have 2 vegetables in front of them. Nobody in my house likes green beans. One time I had a container of green beans in the refrigerator. I'm not kidding. I heated it up like 5 nights in a row because I knew no one was gonna pick to eat that. It was just sort of like the decoy vegetable there, so they could feel great about taking the choice of peas over the green beans, and now they're eating peas, whereas if I just stuck the peas on the table, they'd be like, I don't want peas. But when the peas are next to the green beans, well, now the peas are looking pretty good. So that is totally my secret weapon, is giving them choices with their foods. Giving them, not a lot, because you can completely overwhelm a kid with choices. They shouldn't just be like, oh, looking in the fridge, well, what do you want to eat? Or you're listing everything that's on the inside of the refrigerator. You know, 1, 2, maybe 3 choices, because the confused mind will say no. If they have too many things to choose from, they will get overwhelmed and they'll just say no. So 2 or 3 choices, and sneak a yucky looking one in there, and hopefully that trick works for you. You know, just know that a lot of times there's seasons with kids. That's all you hear about with sleep, with everything else. It's true with food. I had a daughter that boycotted noodles of any kind for like months. I'm like, whoa, oh my goodness, seriously, girl? And then she was back to loving them. You know, same with a vegetable. They'll be like loving vegetables, and then you give it to them, you know, broccoli, you give it to them the next day, and now they're like, this is horrible. I don't want broccoli ever again. They'll get over it. It's just a phase. If you are really having a hard time getting things into your kids, then smoothies is a really great choice. If you don't feel like pulling the blender out every day, I have taken smoothies, froze them in canning jars, and then pulled them out of the freezer one by one. That way you're just getting all the ingredients out once. You make an afternoon out of it, load it with everything that you can hide in there, and then you're just pulling it out from the freezer and sticking it somewhere to defrost for a bit. That has been a really good way to get things into my kids when they are in a super picky season. You know, something else that you might want to try doing is give them really clear-cut rules. We had a season where everyone was just in the snack cabinet so much. They just wanted to snack on stuff all day long. So we put a lock on the snack cabinet, we put a lock on the refrigerator, and we made a rule. You are going to eat fresh foods all day long. So that means you have to pick something from the countertop or the refrigerator, and then after you've eaten dinner, you may have your snack from the cabinet. That worked really great. I mean, after the first 3 days of toddlers being super unhappy because they really wanted something from the cabinet, but after that like third day, they got it. They knew, mom's not letting me into the cabinet, so I might as well just eat something different. Like their bodies literally needed to reset. They almost needed detoxed off of the snack food so that they could have an appetite again for regular food. I mean, the same is true if you've ever had seasons where you're into eating a bunch of junk food. All your body is craving is more junk food. But then if you can break yourself out of that and you're into eating salads and healthy, your body will actually crave those salads and healthy foods. So same is true with your kids. And just whatever you do, don't stress out about it. Like there is no point. I mean, I have some strong-willed children in my house, and so I would just say whatever it is, figure out some positive reinforcements for this. Don't worry about it. Make the modifications that you can. But another thing for the dinner table that we have done is, you know, if you will, I do this one at lunch actually. I will read the kids a book, or when we were in school, I would do school because it distracted them enough from what they were doing that they just quietly sat there and ate, and it was like nobody really gave me a fuss about the food. It works out super well. So I hope these tips are helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Give me a like if you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment below if you have any other tips that you found to get your kids to eat certain kinds of foods. Like when I found that salt on the avocado one, that was a big win in my house. You know, also play around with like the way you cut things. I will get my kids to eat apples by being like, these are apple cookies, and cutting them in circles and putting peanut butter on top, and chai seeds are sprinkles. Or I will say that they're gonna have apple fruit snacks, and I'll cut the apples into these like tiny little squares. Doesn't really take that long. If it's gonna get them to eat it, I'm all for it. So hope this video blessed you guys. Hope you can find some tips and tricks that will work for getting your little ones to eat the food you put in front of them. Let me know if you have any other video recommendations. Like I said, I'm so thankful my friend asked me about this one, and I love you guys so much. Have an amazing Full Joy Mom Day.